Are you trying to establish your brand as a thought leader? Start a podcast, invite industry experts to be guests on your show, and watch your brand become the prime resource for decision makers in your industry. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show. Welcome back to B2B Growth. I'm Logan Lyles with Sweetfish Media. I'm joined today by Natalie Lambert. She is the CMO over at Instart. And today is actually one of the first episodes in our 5Things series. So we decided we wanted to have a little bit of fun and create a resource that tied to one of our core values here at Sweetfish, which is never stop learning. And we thought, what better way to do that than to pick the brains of the great B2B marketers that we've interviewed on the show and talk about some of the things that they can't live without. So Natalie, with that, we're going to be talking about 5 things that you can't live without work and life today. I'm excited to dive into this with you.
I am too. Let's go.
Awesome. So tell us, what's number one? What can you not live without of your top 5 things?
Without a doubt, every single morning, I have to start my day with my Peloton. It is the best workout. And boy, is it the best way for me to wake up, get energy, have instructors that just play amazing music and just make you want to jump into your day. I mean, that Peloton has probably been the best purchase / lifestyle decision I ever made. I'm the biggest Peloton junkie, but again, I can feel the days that I don't use it because I'm slower, and the Peloton just gives me the energy I need every single morning to get going.
That's awesome. I love it. How long have you been doing it? Have you found that it's stuck with versus like other sorts of workout routines or different things like that?
Yeah, I've been going to the gym forever, so it hasn't really increased my attempt to work out, but I do it 6 or 7 days a week, probably way too much. I've had the Peloton for over 2 years. I actually hit my 700th ride tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. I'm more of a groupie than I want to admit, but I have stuck with it. And I've already convinced, I think I've had 6 of my friends buy Pelotons because I think it's the best workout and nothing comes close, and it's just fun to do. They figured out how to gamify everything. So no matter what your poison is in terms of gaming, they get you hooked. I mean, even my husband does it. So that says a lot.
That's awesome. There's probably something for us to learn about as marketers from that. So number 2 on your top 5 things is actually something near and dear to my heart, and that is making it easy to consume audio content. Tell us about a couple of your 5 things here.
Yeah, absolutely. I have 2 apps that sit on the front page of my iPhone. It's Overcast and it's Libby. Between those 2 apps, I can get all of the content that we all want to listen on these very long commutes to work. In the Bay Area, you can be in the car for quite some time, and being able to pass the time quickly is really important. So for the podcast, I have certain podcasts that I listen to every morning. The Daily Show and Recode, absolutely love them. And, again, a way to just make commutes seemingly disappear in my head. And then I also love Libby. I don't know how many people know of Libby, but it's an application that connects to your local library. So you can actually check out all of the free audiobooks and they also have, to be fair, non-audio, I believe, but all of the free audiobooks that you would like. And so I go back and forth between a business book and then a fun book. But again, that way to make the commute kind of disappear while listening and learning a lot of great things along the way.
I love it. Absolutely. So number 3 for you is something that you taught me about in Gmail, just as we were chatting offline. Tell us about number 3 on your top 5 things.
So I move way too fast, but yet I'm one of the most detail-oriented people you meet. And sometimes that comes to a crashing halt when sending email. So in trying to move quickly and moving too quickly to be detail-oriented, what I have found is there is a setting in Gmail that basically gives you a 15-second delay in any send of an email. And so what happens is when you write your email and send, that's, I don't know about other people, that's when I see my mistake. I don't see it until the send button has been pushed. And so what this does is actually won't send any email for 15 seconds. So I probably 5 to 10 times a day see that undo, and I'm able to go back in and edit my email. But as a marketer, with communication being my role and my job, I can't have mistakes. I can't set that standard. And so making sure that I always have that ability to pull it back and make the edits I need is a lifesaver for me.
I love that. I am like king of Gmail extensions, like every Gmail enablement tool you can have. I use Boomerang for follow-ups. I use BombBomb for sending videos. I have my HubSpot sidebar open all the time, those sorts of things. I've used the schedule send. I've even posted on LinkedIn about, using the snooze feature for things that you might not think about within Gmail, but this is something that you taught me. So for folks who are, finding themselves at that collision point of working fast and being detail oriented, or just the, oh no, I just hit send and they notice something. This is not something that like you pick per email you send. It's a default setting you can change, and then it gives you an undo button once you hit send that sits there for up to 15 seconds, right?
That's exactly right. So it's in settings. You're just delaying email. I think 15 seconds is the longest. I'm not 100% sure on that, but literally the minute you hit send, it just sits in the bottom. And the undo sits there until your 15 seconds comes up. And it's, as I said, I don't like to admit how often it's used, but it's a lifesaver.
I love it. Awesome. So number 4 is something that's part of your day-to-day life as a marketing leader. Tell us about number 4 on your top 5 things.
Yeah. So for folks who have distributed teams, video conferencing is yet another life-changing. You talk about this is 5 essential things. These are my 5 things that I cannot live without. But video conferencing is so important for managing a distributed team, especially when you've got team members that you see maybe once a year because they're in a different country or something like that. Video conferencing is something that I require every single meeting that the marketing team has to do. So not a single meeting can go out if there is not a Zoom link or a Hangouts link or whatever the case may be. But I want, no matter what office you're in, every single employee to be having those face-to-face conversations, feeling like they're there, feeling like they're part of it, because it's the way we commit to a remote environment where we can all be successful. And so, I have a great story where, when I finally met my Prague team a few years ago, and we'd actually been working together for a year, but never actually met. I think all of us were like, this is going to be weird. We don't know each other. And it was as if nothing changed, because we sit there and have face-to-face meetings every single day. And I don't think people realize just how valuable that is to bringing those type of conversations to the front.
Yeah, I was really surprised the other day. One of my good friends and a customer of ours, Ethan Butte over at BombBomb, he hosts the Customer Experience podcast, and he had author and speaker Vanessa Van Edwards on the podcast talking about research that she looked into for her book Captivate. That when we shake hands, when we have physical touch with other human beings, dopamine is released in our brain. And there was some research that was called out in that book that yes, looking and making eye contact, even over video, even though it's not necessarily eye contact, I'm looking into the webcam, you're looking into the webcam, but we can see each other. Yes, there is dopamine that's released, and being part of a fully remote distributed team. And as we've been encouraging more people to always have video on and those sorts of things, I can tell you, I've been in similar situations where we meet in real life, and it's like, it's not as big of a jump if we hadn't been used to being on video chat all the time, whether you use Zoom or Google Hangouts, or, there's a number of different tools you can use, but turn the video on would be my recommendation for folks to echo what you're saying there. Awesome. So number 5 for you is actually in the area of managing your life, your profiles, and all your different passwords that we're all dealing with. Tell us about something that has kind of changed your world lately here as we round out your 5 things, Natalie.
Sure. So I think all of us have been told make sure you have different strong passwords for everything you do. And we all kind of nod our head and say yes and move on and keep all our same passwords for everything. We all have probably gotten the emails from a retailer or a bank or something talking about, please change your password. We had some type of breach. I was just as guilty as everyone else. And then I came to work for a web security company, and I actually got to see just how easy it is to get your credentials and for attackers to get access to this information. And it was probably within a month after I started here that I went home and I was telling my husband that we're done. We can't do this anymore. Our information is too widely out there. So we went with a product called 1Password. I think you mentioned you have LastPass and things like that. There are a bunch of different programs that do this, but it's that idea of having a strong, different password for everything that you have. And quite frankly, I don't even know my password. 1Password manages the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think more importantly, the benefit I get, so not only did I get the added security, which is great, but we all want to, how does this make my life easier? I'm sure everyone here has passwords that they share with people. My husband and I are on the same Netflix account. There's just things that you want to share these passwords with. And if I'm changing a password because something is hacked, then he doesn't have it. And it's totally crazy. Well, 1Password also enables you to share the passwords that you want to share with different people so that they just go to a portal, click the button, and everything gets auto-filled. So now every single thing in our life has the different passwords, some of which are shared, some of which are not. And I can now rest at night knowing that all the things that I write about on a day-to-day basis aren't going to happen to me, or at least I won't be caught off guard like everyone else.
Yeah. For every lock, there's someone who's going to try and pick that lock, but you can always put a stronger lock on, which is what I've done as well. And some of those things that, not only just make you more secure, but make life easier. I use LastPass for some of that. It sounds like 1Password is very similar. You can even store, payment methods and those sorts of things to autofill. It's not just a security thing. It's, an ease of use thing. So I love that. We'll put links to all of your top 5 things in the show notes for folks, Natalie. Just so everybody knows, these are not affiliate links. We're not trying to do sponsored promos. Natalie's not. We're not here at Sweetfish. But we just talked to so many smart people just like you, Natalie, that we're building this community here on B2B Growth. And one of our core values at Sweetfish being never stop learning. We thought, man, let's create an outlet for us to share some of the things that are helping either make our lives easier, make us more healthy, make us more productive at work. And you've kind of covered all of those different areas. So your Peloton bike, the Overcast app for podcast listening, which I've been familiar with, but Libby, I was not. I'm definitely going to take that one away from this conversation. The 15-second delayed send in Gmail. I love that. And your stories behind it. Turning on video, whether you use Zoom or Google Hangouts or whatever, and 1Password. Natalie, this has been a ton of fun. Thank you so much for kicking off this new series with us.
Thanks so much, Logan.
We totally get it. We publish a ton of content on this podcast, and it can be a lot to keep up with. That's why we've started the B2B Growth Big 3, a no-fluff email that boils down our 3 biggest takeaways from an entire week of episodes. Sign up today at sweetfishmedia.com/big3. That's sweetfishmedia.com/big3.